magnificent. Good morning, Colonel, sir. Fine bright today. I hear down at the village, prices is picking up, and it's a big year for cotton.
And heroic, a charismatic superstar who leapt off the screen. Men wanted to be like him and women wanted to be with him. But in real life, he was complicated, longing for recognition as both an actor and writer. Devilishly handsome and charming, he was a risk-taker who flouted society's conventions and inevitably landed in trouble. For him, life was a series of adventures. Making movies was one.
Well, this is Colonel Braxton Beauregard Burlique'S the Fifth, adventurer, treasure hunter, swashbuckler extraordinaire, at your service, madam. Well, tonight's talk is going to be, and I don't usually get, I don't want to get political, but you know, I have a background in the entertainment industry, and there's been this big flap over this here Jimmy Kimmel. And I just thought maybe I would just give a little commentary over this news account of it. There's a lot of different angles on it, and the old colonel has his. So I'll just start here, you know. Let me hit this here button.
In Charlie Kirk's murder as a member of the MAGA gang. Here's part of what he said.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving on Friday. The White House.
President Trump.
Now, you know, I'll say this. I don't, and I'm not trying to get political. There was a man that was murdered, shot down like a dog. Absolute travesty. Man was a family man, a churchgoer, just a disgrace that, you know, if he voices an opinion somebody doesn't like, they're out to shoot you down. It's just, it's really terrible the way our society is deteriorated. But it just shows one thing: you got to always be on your guard and have your head on a swivel, and take the precautions. It could be another video altogether on the security precautions that Charlie Kirk, his security people should have taken. They certainly should have checked those rooftops, and if nothing else, have a drone flying around and check the rooftops. If not, have guards at those buildings on those rooftops. But that wasn't done, and the poor man paid with his life. But right now, I'm dealing with this here Jimmy Kimmel fella. He, as you know, he hosts a late-night show on the ABC television network, owned by the Disney Corporation. And this boy, he's been running his mouth for quite a long time. And, you know, whether you're, Democrat or Republican, Johnny Carson was so right. He says you shouldn't be political on your show. You're going to alienate half your audience, and I think certainly that was the case here with Jimmy Kimmel. And then Jimmy Kimmel, he went a step further, and he's basically lying about this background of this assassin for this Charlie Kirk. He's making up substantiated statements, and it was just very poor taste in my opinion. And I don't know what the hell's wrong with the boy. He's, you're hosting, you got a late night chair at a major network, and you're pissing off half your audience. That's just stupid. It's just crazy. and but he felt so enabled. What I understand, I was watching a Gavin McInnes video. It's probably the one I should have had up. And he says that this Jimmy Kimmel married somebody who worked for him on a show. I know he was on that Man show with that. Okay, my batteries died on me. As I was saying, he was on that Man show with that Adam Carolla. I never watched that show. I didn't really care for it much. But I understand that he got involved with and married some employee that was under him at the show. Under him, I guess, in more than one way. And that this lady was a real uber liberal, and I guess he was too. But he's just, this boy to me has just gone totally off his rails. This idiot, he had a network late night talk, entertainment show like a Carson type show, and frankly speaking, he fucked it up. He was there a good number of years, and his ratings, as more he went, getting political, the ratings just kept going down, 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 and down, and down. Until finally, there was one chart I saw, he lost half his audience, they said, since January of this year alone. And he's been on a downward trend. So, just very stupid man. You got that much money, you can afford to lose that job. Just dumb. Just a stupid thing, I think. But let's continue here.
Trump in the UK right now, he addressed the Kimmel situation and the suspension during a press conference with the Prime Minister. Here's his reaction.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else. And he
Agreed.
said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings.
I agree.
They should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
There's been a lot of reaction to this online, including former President Barack Obama, who said after years of complaining about cancel culture, the current administration has taken it to a new...
Oh, I don't think so. I have to agree with Trump on that. The boy really, I don't think he had any talent. I mean, I did watch clips of his show prior to him being suspended, and I just think, I don't think he's very talented at all. I think that he was very fortunate in his career, and he was at the apex of it. And what did he do? Well, quite frankly, he fucked it up. If you want to use the common phrase for it. And now they're talking about, well, it was government pressure. No, it was the if he was popular, they would have kept him on, no matter how controversial. Well, they would have loved it. They'd think, well, more people. But all he did, he wasn't controversial in the respect of bringing people in to watch to see what he was going to say. He was controversial in that he pissed off people and they just switched the channel. They weren't going to be watching him say, well, let's see what else he's going to say. No, they just saw him and they thought, what a jerk he is. And they went and changed the channel. And yeah, you fucked up, Jimmy. There's no question. And now these other politicians saying, well, they're trying to muzzle freedom of speech. Well, that was okay when they fired Tucker Carlson. They all wanted that. And these other people and wanted to cancel him, saying, well, it's a private company. They can do what they want. That's not an infringement of freedom of speech. And now they're saying the opposite of that. It's even, here's this Obama saying that.
And dangerous level by routinely threatening
ridiculous.
regulatory action against media companies.
I don't think that's the case at all.
Fire reporters and commentators it doesn't like. Senator Chuck Schumer also weighed in online saying, America is meant to be a bastion.
Yes,
of free
and
speech.
you were the one
Everybody
wanting Tucker Carlson thrown off.
Speaking out to stop what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel. This is
Well,
about
look what happened to poor Alex Jones. They kicked him off of every
Meanwhile,
platform.
On the other side, one user on X saying Jimmy Kimmel didn't get canceled by cancel culture. Jimmy Kimmel lost his job because he spread lies by saying that a MAGA shot Charlie Kirk. This is the same type of rhetoric that created people like Tyler Robinson. And another user saying free speech is available to all of us, so are the consequences. Jimmy Kimmel has a right to say what he wants. ABC syndicators have the right to pull the show from its markets, And ABC.
Well, that's an interesting point. I think if it was just ABC, Disney Corporation, they have the attitude which, if you remember, everybody told them that they were just screwing up the Indiana Jones remake of the Indiana Jones, the Indiana Jones film, what the hell was it called? Dial of Destiny. Everybody said, this is a bad idea, don't make it woke. They made Star Wars woke, they just fucked it all up, and they lost a bucket load of money on each of those films. But it just didn't get through their thick skulls. But here, ABC owns some of the local affiliates, but not all. There's other companies that own those TV stations. The ratings have been going down and down and down for the ABC. I don't even know what the hell his show's called. And they just said, and after he pulled his latest stunt with this Charlie Kirk bad taste statement, the affiliates, the independent affiliates that Disney doesn't own, they said, we don't want him anymore. We don't want him anymore. And if you do offer it that, we're not going to buy that from you. We're going to get other programming, replace it, and the hell with you, Disney. And Disney, well, that's the thing, money. That's the one thing. That's the one thing, son. Money. It makes people do things they don't want to do. And in this case, Disney had to fire him because there were too many of these affiliates, stations that said they didn't want him. They were going to pull the show themselves. So Disney decided they were going to get rid of him, or at least suspend him indefinitely, to placate those people, and that's like Warren Buffett says, Mr. Market. Mr. Market spoke. Those people knew they were going to lose money, and they didn't want to get down with Jimmy Kimmel and Disney, and they said, the hell with you if you're not going to take the boy off. And so they did. So anyway, we'll continue on here.
ABC has the right to fire Kimmel.
In the days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there's a growing divide, even among conservatives, on what qualifies as hate speech. Attorney General Pam Bondi is facing backlash for some conservatives for saying, quote, there's free speech and then there is hate speech. Commentator Tucker Carlson called it.
I think this. I'm not trying to get political, but unless you're, example, in a movie theater and you yell fire and there's no fire, that is incendiary speech. That you shouldn't permit that. But if somebody has a low opinion of a certain person, an issue, I don't think it's right you throw them in jail, you're prosecuting them like them. They're British over there. They're actually throwing people in jail. And then they lie. That Starmer, their prime minister, lies and says, well, there's free speech here. Bullshit. I've seen the scenes. They had 5 of these here English Barbies dragging some old lady off to jail. It's ridiculous. Thank God we're here in the U.S. of A. and we have that U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, because that's the best thing in the world. So no, I can't agree. There shouldn't be any prosecution or laws with a hate speech. It's terrible.
That idea lie, and that, quote, any attempt to impose hate speech laws in this country is a denial of the humanity of American citizens and cannot be tolerated.
I agree.
Allowed. Commentator Eric Erickson, more blunt in his comments. He called Bondi a moron. Ms. Bondi now says the Justice Department will only go after speech that leads to violence.
In other headlines,
well, that's pretty
vague.
Vague.
Designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. Antifa
that's a different topic. I'll deal with that another time. But anyway, that's just my little video on the Jimmy Kimmel. And then the question you have to ask is, I understand, I never watched any of his shows, but I understand he is also the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which honestly, I thought since Reed Philbin passed away, I thought that was off the air. They're saying he has been hosting it, and they're wondering what they're going to do with that. I'd fire his ass off that show, too, because people are pissed off at him. He got political. You don't get political. And, as you know, myself, I'm rather a middle-of-the-road fella, as much as an old Southern colonel can be. Sort of a Dixiecrat back in the old days. but I can't agree with a lot of this crazy stuff I'm seeing here today in this modern world. That's why, I'm very glad to have my loyal servants here who protect me here at the Manor House, and you always look around. Always be aware of your environment, and if somebody does threaten you, why, you don't hesitate to use the force to protect yourself. I know as a riverboat gambler out there, there have been times where I was threatened. Somebody wanted, they lost the card game, and they wanted the money back, and they, like in the old Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid saying, the money stays and you go. Well, no. If I go, the money goes with me, Daddy, because I want it, and you're just a sore loser, boy. And but you always got to protect yourself, and that's of course what our Second Amendment's for. And I have to tell you, you don't have to wonder what side of that the old colonel's on. But anyway, boy, I'm glad you all could visit with me, and I share a couple thoughts with you all. So I'm going to sign off there, boy. Well, this is Colonel Braxton Beauregard Burlique the Fifth, adventurer, treasure hunter, swashbuckler extraordinaire, at your service, madam, signing off. But before I do sign off, again, Jimmy Kimmel, you really did screw the pooch on that deal. Anyway, goodbye, y'all.